Okay, get ready for this. Elvis Presley recorded his final studio albums, surrounded by green shag carpet on the ceiling. And guess what? That famously wild room in Graceland with its own indoor waterfall started life as something totally boring. A back porch. Plus the iconic furniture. Rumor has it, the king bought it all in about 30 minutes flat. Mind blown. Number 7. It started life as a totally normal back porch. Picture Graceland in its earlier days. A stately southern mansion. Sure, but still a home. And like many homes, it had a back porch. You know the type. Probably screened in maybe a couple of rocking chairs, a place to escape the Memphis humidity, swat away mosquitoes, and maybe sip some lemonade. It was attached to the back of the house, offering a transition between the formal interior and the sprawling backyard. For years, this space served its simple purpose. It was functional, ordinary, maybe even a little bit dull compared to the man who lived inside. Think about that transition, from a standard, everyday architectural feature to one of the most photographed and talked about rooms in American pop culture history. It wasn't built from scratch as a dedicated den of jungle ghouls. It evolved, Elvis decided, at some point in the mid-1960s, around 1965, is often cited, that this humble porch needed more, A-L-O-T, more. The potential was there. It was a decent-sized space, connected to the main house, but also feeling slightly separate, offering a canvas for something different. The decision was made to enclose the porch fully. This wasn't just putting up some flimsy screens, it meant adding permanent walls, windows, insulation, making it a true year-round room. This act alone transformed its character. No longer exposed to the elements, it became an interior space, ready for a new identity. This structural change laid the groundwork, literally, for the explosion of unique decor that was to come. It went from being an afterthought, a space defined by its connection to the outdoors, to an internal sanctuary waiting for its personality. Imagine the construction workers enclosing this porch, having absolutely no idea it was destined to become a faux Polynesian paradise with fuzzy green ceilings. The sheer normalcy of its origin story makes its final form even more fantastically bizarre and captivating. It's a reminder that even the most outlandish creations often start from the most mundane beginnings. From porch to palace, or jungle, rather. The foundation, the actual floor plan, still echoes that original porch layout, a ghostly blueprint beneath the layers of rock carpet and carved wood. Number 6. The furniture was basically an impulse buy. Elvis wasn't exactly known for agonizing over decisions, especially when it came to spending money and getting what he wanted right now. And the story behind the jungle room's iconic furniture fits that bill perfectly. Legend has it, and it's a widely repeated tale among Graceland tour guides and Elvis lore, that the king was out shopping in Memphis, possibly in 1974. He spots this particular style of furniture in a store window. Maybe Donald's furniture store is often mentioned. This wasn't just any furniture. It was heavy, dark, ornately carved wood, often described as Polynesian style or tiki. Think big chunky armchairs with wide, flat armrests, maybe some faux animal fur upholstery. That came later, but the core style was there. It had a very specific, very strong, very unsubtle look. It screamed exoticism, adventure, maybe a touch of island fantasy. So Elvis sees this stuff. Does he mull it over? Does he call Priscilla for a consult? Does he measure the room? Nope. According to the story, he basically walks in points and says, "I'll take it all." Or words to that effect. The purchase was supposedly made incredibly quickly, perhaps in under an hour, maybe even as fast as 30 minutes. Boom, done. An entire room's worth of furniture decided upon and bought on the spot. Imagine the scene. Elvis Presley, possibly flanked by a couple of members of his Memphis mafia, strolling into a furniture store. The salesman's eyes probably popped. Then the king, maybe digging the vaguely Hawaiian vibe, he loved Hawaii, filmed movies there, vacationed there, just decides this is the look for his newly enclosed porch. He doesn't just buy a sofa and a chair. He buys the coordinating pieces enough to fill the space. End tables, lamps, the works. It was a package deal in his mind, an instant room transformation waiting to happen. This rapid-fire purchase speaks volumes about Elvis's decisiveness and his desire for immediate gratification. It also highlights his unique taste. This wasn't the kind of understated elegance you might find in other celebrity homes of the era. This was bold, thematic, and maybe even a little bit kitschy, but it was pure Elvis. The furniture itself became the defining element of the room, dictating the jungle theme that would be layered on with even more extravagant touches later. That split-second decision in a Memphis furniture store set the stage for Graceland's most famous den. Number 5. Yes, that green shag carpet. Really, eyes on the ceiling. Let's just pause and absorb that green shag carpet on the ceiling. It's one of the first things people mention after visiting Graceland, the detail that lodges itself firmly in the "you have got to be kidding me" part of your brain. And it's absolutely true. When Elvis decided to fully commit to the jungle room theme in the mid-1970s, he didn't do it halfway. Oh no. The floor naturally got covered in a deep plush green shag carpet. This was the 70s after all. Shag carpet was everywhere. It was the height of groovy home fashion. Having it on the floor was practically standard for a den or family room aiming for that cozy laid-back vibe. But Elvis, being Elvis, looked at the floor and seemingly thought, why stop there? The green shag crusade continued upwards. It climbed the walls. Yes, the walls of the jungle room are also carpeted in the same green shag. Imagine running your hand along the wall, not cool plaster or smooth paint, but thick, fibrous carpet pile. It immediately changes the acoustics of the room, muffling sound, and creates an immersive, almost womb-like, a very fuzzy green womb feeling. And then the master stroke of glorious weirdness, the ceiling. Defying gravity and conventional decorating sense, the green shag carpet was installed overhead. Think about the logistics of that, getting heavy carpet to stick to the ceiling and stay there. It completes the feeling of being utterly enveloped in green fuzziness. You are inside the carpet. It's below you. It's beside you. It's above you. Why? There's no definitive why beyond Elvis wanted it. Perhaps it enhanced the jungle-like, overgrown, all-encompassing feeling he was going for. Maybe it was about texture and sensory overload. Maybe it helped absorb sound even further, which would become surprisingly relevant later. Maybe he just thought it looked cool and different, and nobody was going to tell him no. The effect is undeniable. It's startling, slightly disorienting, and utterly unforgettable. It transforms the room from merely decorated to fully themed. The green shag, on every surface barring the stone waterfall wall and windows, is the environment. It's not just flooring. It's the foliage, the moss, the very essence of this man-made jungle. It's tactile, it's visually overwhelming, and it's pure, uncut, 1970s Elvis aesthetic. Forget hardwood floors or tasteful wallpaper. The king went full fuzz. Number 4. It features a working, indoor waterfall. As if the wall-to-ceiling green shag carpet and the heavy tiki furniture weren't enough, the jungle room needed another signature feature to really cement its vibe. Enter. At one end of the room, dominating the wall space, is a feature built from natural fieldstone. It's rugged textured and provides a stark contrast to the softness of the ubiquitous shag carpet. And built into this stone facade is a water feature designed to mimic a cascading waterfall. Water would be pumped to the top and allowed to trickle down over the stones, collecting in a basin below before being recirculated. Imagine the sensory experience in that room. You've got the visual overload of the green carpet and the dark, imposing furniture. You've got the tactile sensation of the shag underfoot and on the walls. And then you add the sound. The gentle, constant trickling and splashing of water. It adds an entirely new layer to the dame. Suddenly, it's not just a visually themed room. It's an auditory one, too. The sound of the waterfall would have filled the space, aiming to evoke a sense of being near a natural spring or a jungle cascade. This wasn't a simple little tabletop fountain. It was a significant, built-in architectural element. It required plumbing, a pump, and maintenance. Indoor water features can sometimes be tricky potential for leaks, the need to keep the water clean, the gentle hum of the pump, but Elvis clearly thought it was worth it for the atmosphere it created. The waterfall enhanced the room's escapist quality. It was another step away from the ordinary, another element designed to transport visitors and the king himself to a different place, perhaps a tropical paradise inspired by his beloved Hawaii. It's the kind of feature you might expect to find in the lobby of a themed hotel or maybe a particularly ambitious restaurant. But here it was, right in Elvis Presley's private home. Sitting in one of those big carved armchairs, surrounded by green shag, listening to the soothing sounds of water trickling down stone, it must have been a unique experience, to say the least. The waterfall cemented the room's identity. It wasn't just decorated like a jungle. It had elements of a jungle, or at least a highly stylized, 1970s interpretation of one. It was one more piece of the puzzle, one more layer of delightful excess that makes the jungle room so iconic. Number 3. It was a real family room, not just a showpiece. With all its outlandish decor, The ceiling, carpet, the waterfall, the tiki gods grimacing from the furniture. You might think the jungle room was purely for show. A place Elvis created to wow guests or just to satisfy a decorative whim, but rarely actually used. That couldn't be further from the truth. This room was one of the most lived-in spaces in Graceland, especially in Elvis's later years. It functioned as a primary family hangout. This was where Elvis, Priscilla, when she was there, and especially young Lisa Marie, would spend time together relaxing. Think about that image. The king of rock and roll, perhaps in one of his famous jumpsuits, or maybe just casual loungeade, kicking back in one of those enormous carved armchairs. Lisa Marie as a little girl, playing on the green shag carpet, a surface that probably seemed like an endless, fascinating landscape to a child. They watched TV in there. They listened to music. They simply relaxed and escaped the pressures of Elvis's immense fame. It was intended as a comfortable, informal space, despite its highly unconventional appearance. The very elements that seem so strange to us might have contributed to its cozy, den-like feel for the family. The thick, carpet-muffled sound, the waterfall provided a soothing background noise, and the enclosed nature of the room, being a former porch, perhaps made it feel like a secluded retreat within the larger mansion. Priscilla, Presley has spoken about the room being Elvis's particular favorite, a place he felt truly comfortable in. It wasn't part of the more formal areas of Graceland, where guests might be entertained. It was part of the private family quarters upstairs and downstairs. Its location at the back of the house, away from the main entrance, added to its sense of privacy. Knowing it was a genuine family space adds another dimension to the jungle room. It wasn't just a flight of fancy, it was functional. It saw everyday life happen within its fuzzy green walls. Imagine family photos being taken against that backdrop, homework being done, perhaps, or just quiet moments shared. The jungle room was a backdrop for the private life of one of the world's most public figures. It witnessed the mundane alongside the extraordinary, all under a ceiling of green shag carpet. The contrast between the room's wild look and its simple function as a family den makes it even more intriguing. Number 2. Elvis turned it into a temporary recording studio. This might be one of the most surprising facts about the already surprising jungle room. In February and October of 1976, Elvis Presley decided he didn't want to travel to RCA's established recording studios in Nashville or Hollywood. He wanted to record at home. And where did he choose to lay down tracks for what would become his final studio albums? Right there, amidst the green shag carpet, the tiki furniture, and the stone waterfall. RCA, wanting new material from their biggest star, agreed to bring the studio to him. They parked mobile recording trucks outside Graceland and ran thick cables through the windows and doors, snaking across the lawn and into the jungle room. Microphones were set up. Musicians squeezed into the space alongside their instruments, guitars, drums, keyboards. Backup singers found spots where they could. The jungle room, usually a place for relaxation and family time, was transformed into a makeshift professional recording environment. Think about the acoustics. Professional studios are meticulously designed with sound, baffling and specific geometric shapes to control reverb and capture clean audio. The jungle room had shag carpet everywhere, and a stone waterfall. While the carpet might have actually helped deaden the sound considerably, preventing unwanted echoes, it was far from an ideal recording space by industry standards. Yet, this is where Elvis felt comfortable working at that point in his life. And the music recorded there was significant. Sessions in February 1976 produced songs like Moody Blue, which became the title track of his last studio album, released during his lifetime, and the powerful ballad Hurt. The October 1976 sessions yielded tracks like Way Down, which became a posthumous hit, and Pledging My Love. These weren't just demos. These were master recordings intended for commercial release. An entire album's worth of material plus tracks for another came out of these Jungle Room sessions. Imagine the scene. The king, perhaps sitting in one of his large carved chairs, singing into a microphone. His band, TCB, taking care of business, crowded around him. The sound of drums and electric guitars bouncing off the stone waterfall wall, absorbed by the fuzzy green walls and ceiling. The recording engineers outside in the truck, trying to capture magic under highly unusual circumstances. It speaks volumes about Elvis's desire for comfort and control in his later years, choosing the familiar, albeit bizarre surroundings of his own creation over the sterile environment of a traditional studio. The Jungle Room wasn't just a den. It was, for a brief but crucial period, the birthplace of the last music Elvis Presley would ever record in a studio setting. Number 1. Elvis was his own interior decorator, mostly. Forget hiring high-priced interior designers with portfolios full of meaniest, chic, or sophisticated palettes. The Jungle Room, in all its glorious, kitschy, unforgettable splendor, was largely a product of Elvis Presley's own vision and taste. While he obviously didn't install the carpet or wire the waterfall himself, the concept, the choices, the driving force behind the room's unique aesthetic came directly from the king. This wasn't a committee decision. It wasn't designed to impress architectural critics. It was Elvis deciding what he thought was cool, what he found comfortable, and what made him happy. The choice of the heavy Polynesian-style furniture, the decision to go all in with the green shag carpet on nearly every surface, the addition of the stone waterfall, these were reflections of his personal preferences. His love for Hawaii is often cited as a major influence. Having filmed movies like Blue Hawaii, Girls, 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 and Paradise Hawaiian Style there, and vacationing on the islands frequently, Elvis developed a deep affection for Polynesian culture, or at least the popular, somewhat romanticized version of it prevalent at the time. The Jungle Room can be seen as his attempt to bring a piece of that tropical paradise, that sense of escapism, back home to Memphis. The tiki motifs, the lush green, even if artificial, the sound of water, it all points to an effort to recreate an island vibe. But it was his interpretation. It wasn't about authentic replication. It was about capturing a feeling, a mood. And it blended with other elements of his taste, a love for comfort, a flair for the dramatic, perhaps a touch of playful tackiness. He liked things that were visually interesting, textured, maybe even a little over the top. The Jungle Room is pure, undiluted, Elvis style. Think about other parts of Graceland, the music room with its white piano and stained glass, the billiard room with its fabric-draped ceiling, the TV room with its mirrored ceiling and multiple television sets. Elvis had a distinct and evolving sense of style throughout the house, often bold and unconventional. The Jungle Room is perhaps the ultimate expression of that personal aesthetic taking flight in the 1970s. It wasn't about following trends, although shag carpet was trendy. It was about setting his own trend, creating a space that was uniquely his. When you look at the jungle room, you're not just seeing a strangely decorated space. You're getting a direct insight into the personality and preferences of Elvis Presley. He wanted a jungle in his house, so he made one. The fact that he was the primary creative force behind this iconic room makes it even more fascinating. It's a tangible piece of his imagination, brought to life with wood, stone, water, and an unbelievable amount of green shag carpet.